is what you're made of. You are perfect and pure, even if you're not sure. It's what you're made of. L-O-V-E, love.
I remember when I first was helping to write the welcome for Unity, and I thought, what do I believe about God? God is love and only love to me. We say we at Unity on Cape Cod believe that. Someone was trying to explain to me that it's much more than that. It's this and it's that. But wait a minute. Isn't love the beginning, the foundation of everything else? Without that, you don't have respect. You don't have community. You don't have expanding consciousness. You don't have a transformation. Love is really the essence of the universe. And if God is love, then it can't be something else. Everything else is temporary. And so, on a spiritual path, and in spiritual philosophy, we have to go to the absolute truth as our foundation. Everything else is, how do we apply the absolute truth to our relative experience here in time and space? How do we apply the absolute truth? But if we don't start with the absolute, we're going to be always living our lives from a false theology, from a false belief system, a system that is based in duality. The idea that God is love and only love is biblical. It's in every religion, and it's the one thing that we need to focus on. In 1 John chapter 4, it repeatedly says, God is love. If you know love, you know God. If you don't know love, if you don't practice love, you don't know God. But if you do love, then you do know God. And in fact, you are expressing God. You are expressing the God within you when you are loving. So he says, beloved, let us love one another. Let us love one another. That's our direction. It seems pretty simple. For God is love, and everyone that loves is born of God and knows God, and he that doesn't love doesn't know God, for God is love. So in case anyone still has a question to the nature of God or the direction of your life, ask yourself the question, is there really any other power in the universe? When I first came to Unity, I heard the statement, there's one power and one presence active in the universe and in my life. So I'm not just acknowledging this absolute power in the universe, I'm acknowledging that I'm choosing to make that my life. I'm choosing to allow the absolute power to guide me and to be the direction for my life. And I think that's the most important thing. God is love, and if God is love, therefore so am I. So there's one power, there's one presence active in the whole universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotence, all-powerful, everywhere present, all-knowing. I've come to know this absolute power as the power of love. Not sentimental and fleeting love, not emotional love, but eternal, abiding and powerful divine love. I was reading something very interesting on Friday afternoon. We were recording a podcast, Charlie and I here. One of the books I used was Richard Rohr's book, The Universal Christ, which we used for our book club recently. So I decided to take a deeper look at something he wrote in the book. It's a section called The Divine Mirror. Because in this section, he describes the act of loving another as mirroring the Christ in them. That true acts of love is showing your brothers and sisters who they are, mirroring their Christ self. And he says that this mirror, this divine mirror, is going on everywhere, all the time. It's in nature. It's in children. It's in animals. The universal Christ is not specifically just people. It's in everything. It's the animating force of the universe. So he also asserts the idea that being in everything, that God is like the sun. Love is like the sun. It just is there shining all the time. Whether we choose to look or not is the question. Are we looking? Are we shining like that sun? Are we constant in our remembrance of our divine nature? Are we constant? Can we stay constant in our minds? Or do we go off here and there? I go off here and I go off there in my mind. But something brings me back. And that something is the constant presence of the divine in me. And what's nice is that Richard Rohr, even though he's a Catholic, characterizes the Christ as divine presence, not as a person, not as Jesus' last name. This is what we call embedded theology. All the other very embedded ideas and beliefs that we have that, quite frankly, have brought a lot of destruction to the planet and to each other. Richard Rohr says this: how you relate to human beings is how you relate to God. And how you relate to God is how you relate to human beings. So this is exactly what Paul's saying in Corinthians, that you can't say you love God and hate your brother. This is 1 John. Again, he's saying, if you try to do that, you're a liar. You can't say, oh, I love God, but I hate you. I don't like you. You're not fulfilling my ideas of what I think a human being should do and be. So how I'm relating to God, if I have a judgmental God, I'm going to be judgmental. If I have a God that has the possibility of hating, I'm going to have hate in my heart at some time or another. But if I have the absolute God of love in my heart, then that's what I am going to be. That's what I want to be. And so I'm going to relate to, not worship, but relate to a God of absolute love. God is love. And I have to add, and only love. It cannot be something else. So what he's saying here is, even though God is love and only love, the divine source of all love, and a constant mirror for us to discover that love in us as well, that we're not going to see who we really are, and we're not going to experience what God really is, unless we relate to our brothers and sisters the same way. Because, amen, as we relate to human beings, that's our God. As we relate to God, that's how we treat all the human beings. And even ourselves. So each moment is a brand new opportunity to choose again. That you can relate to your fellow human beings as they are divine, because they are. They truly are. Anyone who's fallen in love or who's been married for 50 years or 55 years. Or even just has one moment of true love for another human being, knows that they're relating to something divine. And then all of a sudden, everything starts to appear. It's like you've never seen it before. It's like that song, It's in Every One of Us. I bought this ticket, but I'm only watching half of the show. It's like I've been sleeping all these years. I never saw what life really was. And I didn't see it because I was clouded by a lot of misperception. So every moment's a brand new opportunity to choose again, to choose love, to choose to relate to human beings in a way that honors the God in them. I really believe this is our way out of all of the conflict and division that we face in the world today. And it's up to us to focus on that. That's why I'm so grateful you're here this morning, because you're choosing to focus, to see the God, at least honor. Even if I don't see it, sometimes I'm clouded by my perceptions. I'm going to honor that God in you. I know it's there. Even on a cloudy day like it is today, I know the sun is still shining. It's still there. It's still sending that energy. It's still radiating. And so are you. You still have God in you no matter how far off you've gotten off track in your mind. You can always come back. You can always choose again. And the mirror works both ways. Richard Rohr doesn't just say our relationships with others reveal how we relate to God. He also says our relationship with God shapes how we relate to others. So I think it's very important to get your inner theology, I won't say right, to get your inner theology in harmony with your true feelings and beliefs. Get yourself in harmony with yourself. Get your beliefs in harmony with how you know it needs to be and how you want to feel. Forget everything and everyone else. They cannot, I just said this last week, they cannot tell you what to think, what to feel, what to believe. That's up to you to shape your own reality. But you have to shape it from within. Otherwise, what are we doing? We're reacting to what's happening out there. That's just leading me down a road that's not authentic. It's not me. I want to react or respond to the God within me. And I'm asking you to do the same. Respond to the truth. Respond to the absolute. Keep that clear in your mind, the absolute, that God is love, that there really is only love. That's why everyone can relate to or resonate with the song that Ori just sung. There really is only love. And so the mirror works both ways. When I need a reflection, I might get it from you. I might get it from being out in nature. I might get it from any number of sources. But it's always there. That mirror is waiting to shine and reflect my divinity back to me. And I can shine and reflect that divinity that you are back to you. And hopefully that's what I'm doing. That's my mission anyway. That's what I'm here for. And I would propose to you today that maybe that's what you're here for too. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you could just give it a try this week. To be a reflection of the Christ in your brothers and sisters. Because how you relate to them is how you relate to God. The mirror works both ways. And this is exactly what Paul was telling the Corinthians, or John. In this, we don't know if it was Paul or John or who wrote. Actually, they had a lot of friends who would, this is how it really worked, especially in the New Testament and the books. Paul had somebody who wrote everything down for him. And they had a lot of people giving them, oh, what about this? Like John, he tells me things all the time and I just throw them in the sermon. You don't even know that it was from him. I love it. I love it. It's the same with those guys who wrote this. But what he was saying over and over and over again in the scripture is that God is love and only love. And that's what you are as well. And pretending that you're something else, you're just lying to yourself. Pretending your brother or sister is something else, you're just lying to yourself. So he's saying here, even though God is love and only love, the divine source of all creation and a constant mirror for our divinity, and a way to discover that we too are love, unless we relate to our brothers and sisters in love, we're not going to see who we really are or experience what God really is. So it's important to check in with yourself, to root out any embedded theology that paints a picture of a judgmental, a vengeful, a condemning God. Sometimes it's embedded, it's deep in your subconscious, you don't even know it's there. But it will be the source of judgment, I guarantee you. When you're judging someone, it usually comes from those false beliefs that are embedded in your subconscious that you haven't rooted out. And it's so easy because you can root it out by replacing it with the absolute truth. God is love and only love is a great one because it's an absolute truth. You can replace those old beliefs, the old tapes that are in the subconscious by tapping into your superconscious mind. Do you know that you have a superconscious mind? That this is the first time I'm telling you guys this? You have a superconscious mind. A mind that is in connection with the whole universe. That knows everything. That's connected to everything. And everything is pure. There are no questions or doubts in that mind. There are no opposites. It's almost impossible for a human being to even think of this because you think we live by opposites. And it's just not true. That's the human condition, but it doesn't have to be. Your condition can be one of harmony with all there is if you allow the superconscious mind to instruct the subconscious. See, what we're doing now is we have a lot of subconscious things down in there. And they come out in very interesting ways, let's say. But we also have the ability to act from the Christ within if we instruct our minds from the superconscious or the Christ in us, the God in us. And we can do this. So, what's the most important thing? More importantly, we must take on the task of discovering the God of love and only love. That should be our daily task, to discover. Discover the God of love and only love. Let's discover that superconsciousness, the mind of God. The Course in Miracles says, God is the mind with which I think. It says that God is the love in which I forgive. It goes on and on. God is literally my mind, my heart. Love is my mind and my heart. And when I begin to get that into my consciousness, embedded in my consciousness, all the other stuff whoosh, disappears. It's healed. That's true healing. I want a healing of my mind. And I think this is why it is of primary importance to distinguish our universal spiritual theology of God being love and only love from the outdated, dualistic, and thoroughly misinterpreted and misrepresented theology of the past. And perhaps the present. Present generations who characterize God as a judgmental being, sometimes loving and sometimes condemning, sending some to heaven and some to hell. And you know, those of us in Unity, sometimes we laugh at that idea, but it's still a very popular idea. because you can be on the winning team. And of course, there are a lot of religious leaders who are going to tell you, we have the formula to be on the winning team. If you just follow this formula that I have for you. And that can be very dangerous and destructive, because once you get on that team, the formula can change. And then you have to not like this person, you have to hate that person, you have to believe this, you have to believe that to stay on the winning team. Oh boy. But you still think you're winning, when in fact, it doesn't even exist in the universe. You already are everything, you have everything, and you're in connection with everything. There's nothing to win and nothing to lose. There's everything to discover and everything to be. And so it's very important for us to distinguish our theology, that we have a universal spiritual theology of oneness and of love. And invite everyone to that. I invite you to invite everyone else to sit here with you and to celebrate our oneness and our God self, because that's truly something to celebrate. You know, I think it's time for a spiritual revolution, as our friend Summer Osborne so wonderfully sang about. That's what is needed more than anything else in these days. It's a spiritual revolution. It's high time to turn away from the destructive religions and the vengeful, condemning God. It's time for God of love and only love. And remember, something very important, that it is an amazing adventure. It's an amazing trip, my friends. It's the greatest and most fun. And there is nothing that will give you more satisfaction than allowing God to be shining through you, to being your true self. It's so amazing, God shining in us. I love you guys. Keep shining, keep loving, and invite everyone to this experience.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at unityonCapeCod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.